Alright, what is up everyone? It's been, let me just check it out real quick. That is not what I wanted to show. That is what I wanted to show. Apparently it has been, let's see, 1 year ago. Let me just quickly see here. Only 3 years, yeah, correct. Alright, so it was on the 26th of November 2024. That is a year and a month ago. That was the last video I made on something I made. And I've actually been working on something new. Now, it is not FNAF for the PSP, guys. It's not. It is something I've just been kind of experimenting with for like the past 2 months. And I've got it working very, it's very rough around the edges, but basically I've just been working on making a Game Boy emulator. And for now, for the 3DS, but I'm actually trying to write it as as clean as possible so that everything stays separated. So for example, this is the 3DS code, and as you can see, all that I'm doing essentially is just creating a Game Boy object, which is basically the emulator. And then I pass this kind of info to it. And as you can see, this is just basically how it works, right? That's just basically how it works. And in the GUI, the UI GUI, I just create a ROM selection screen with a big font and a nice font and whatever. But basically, I'm trying, I've been working on this for like quite some time now. I've been, writing out the PPU and the instruction sets and the translation of the instruction sets. I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail because this stuff is pretty complex. But in essence, all we're doing is we're just, we're reading the ROM. Let me see. So we're reading the ROM, right? And then what we do is we get a code out of that, which is a instruction. And then what we do is we check the instructions in this giant list of cases, which is like 2,000 lines long. And then we perform an action based on what opcode it was. And then we perform, an action on the CPU, quote unquote, like software wise. We also have a general, input manager, which is just basically, this thing just basically is a, how should I say it? It's like a software input system, which just talks to the CPU and the memory and whatever. Okay, you can see we have the memory stuff being handled, whatever. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but as you can see, when I run make, you can actually see that it successfully compiles and actually creates a 3ds-x file. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to open up that 3ds-x file in Citra. Now on the real 3ds it's very slow, and also there's no audio yet. It still needs a lot of optimization and a lot of work, but the basics are here. So let me just quickly set up some control schemes, because I'm just gonna change that to left, right, I don't care, right, up and down, and yeah, that seems good. So as you can see, we got, I'm actually going to show you this. We actually got, if we go to the Citra folder, in this folder we actually have, no, not in that one, excuse me, I mean in this one we actually have our ROMs, and as you can see, these are real Game Boy ROMs. You can't really see it like this, but these are real Game Boy ROMs. And we can just open them up in Citra. Take Super Mario Land for example, hit start, and on Citra it's actually pretty fast. I died. On Citra it's actually pretty fast, but on real hardware it's very laggy and very slow. But it's something that needs a lot more optimization. There's also a lot of glitching and weird artifacts still going on, But as you can see, essentially we're playing a Game Boy game now on a 3DS by replicating the instructions of a Game Boy. Emulation, you know, emulation. Emulation is quite cool actually. But no, I'm actually not working. Before you guys are all gonna flood down to my comments and ask me if I'm still working on FNAF, I am not. Maybe one day I'll be like, you know, I'll make a little update for it. There have actually been some updates, and those should have actually have upped the game experience a lot. They're not made by me, but by some other guy who was in my Discord server, and I believe it's like version 1.5.6 or something. Just do that real quick. Let me just finish this level real quick, just for fun, just to show you that it actually works. Let's go, let's go, let's speed run a bit. Actually can't go through there apparently, because then we're too big for that. Alright, we finished the level. But as you can see, it is actually fully working, and I think it's pretty cool. We got a bonus game, of course. We got one life. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It took me a lot of time and a lot of effort, but we got or I got something working. And you know, maybe just in general for learning C++ or whatever C, writing emulators is actually very good because it teaches you a lot. Anyways, I see I've been recording for close to 7 minutes. But yeah, so I don't know if this is the last video I'm gonna do. I don't know if this is the first video of many I'm gonna do. I don't know if this is maybe just some sort of side thing until I get distracted by something else. But, and also that, if in any case, if you want to kind of follow the project along, if you find it interesting, you can do so on my GitHub, which is this one. You know, this is my GitHub slash, and then my username, which is this. And yeah, you can see when we go to my repositories, we can actually see this one, which is my emulator. And you can actually see some extra info about it here. You can check out the code if you like. You can kind of look around it. Maybe if you want to make a commit, you can make a commit for it. If you want to do some optimization work, whatever, it's all possible. So, well, thanks for watching. And yeah, maybe I'll keep you guys updated, maybe not. We'll see. But thanks for watching.